All right, it is 6:30. Can you all hear me? Thumbs up. Okay, excellent. Great. I'll call the meeting to order. And I'll start by asking the council members who are appearing remotely to introduce themselves, maybe start by district. District 1.
I'm Ben Doyle from District 1.
Adrian Gill, District 1.
District 2.
Palin Cohn, District 2.
And Sal, you're District 2, aren't you? Sal, it looks like you're frozen. We'll come back to you. And Carrie?
Carrie Brown, District 3.
And
Jim Sheridan, District 3.
excellent, thank you. And Sal, could you call out your name? You're muted. Do you have the ability to unmute yourself, Sal? Okay, well, I will note the presence of Councilor Sal Alfano.
Sorry, my audio wasn't hooked up. Sal Alfano, District 2.
Okay, thank you. Great. We're worried about meeting logistics. Anyone joining remotely, please change your name display on your computer to your first and last name so we know who we're talking to. And similarly, when you're called upon to speak, we'd ask you to start by stating your name and where you live. Ask you to keep your comments or questions to under 3 minutes. And anyone who wishes to speak must be called on. Once you're called on, you may make a statement, ask questions, but don't go into back and forth discussion. And anyone who speaks out of turn, goes on too long, or discusses non-germane topics may be interrupted and asked to adjust your comments or behavior. Council members, do we approve tonight's agenda? Okay, we'll consider the agenda approved. First item on the agenda is general business and appearances. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to address the council on any topic that is not on tonight's agenda. We ask you to limit your comments to 5 minutes. Is there anyone in the room who would like to be heard? Steve.
Good evening, Steve Whitaker. I understand tonight's agenda is all about the city manager search, but I want to speak briefly about what any incoming manager will inherit, a process problem that's now putting Montpelier's biggest redevelopment opportunity at risk. For months, the public's been told that we had to rush into an exclusive brokerage agreement with White and Burke because, quote, a developer had to be identified to remain eligible for federal funding. That statement is false. Commerce ACCD DHCD's own general counsel has today confirmed in writing that a municipality may apply directly for CDBG funds, DR funds, without naming a developer. A developer being on board is only needed if the city chooses to subgrant. So the entire justification for bypassing open procurement and approving that contract without such action being warned and immediately after an executive session collapses. We did not need a developer, and we certainly did not need a commission-based broker to market public lands before we even finished our environmental and engineering work. Meanwhile, the clock on real prerequisites is running out. A phase 2 supplemental site investigation and corrective action plan for the brownfield parcels remain unfinished. These are essential for A&R sign-off for FEMA and HUD environmental clearance. The traffic study, the one that's supposed to tell us what the intersection at Country Club Road and Route 2 can actually handle, hasn't been produced. Yet staff keep talking as if the driveway has unlimited capacity and as if intersection safety, sightlines, and grade don't constrain what can be built there. Because of that misplaced focus, we've already missed this year's window. We may have already missed this year's window for the CDBG-DR planning funds, the very dollars meant to pay for those studies. And we're in danger of missing the VTrans Better Connections round as well. Those programs fund planning and multimodal access feasibility studies. The Northern Border Regional Commission catalyst money being waved around now is for infrastructure only. It can't replace planning funds we failed to pursue. In short, we chased an imaginary deadline for a developer while ignoring the real deadlines for compliance and planning. The transcript of last week's subcommittee makes it worse. Members were discussing access grades as if 12% slopes are acceptable for housing and multi-use paths. They are not. The state's own design manual caps those grades at 10%, even lower for ADA compliance. And yet the same people are talking about running an RFP for developers before they even know where a safe road or a path or buildings can go. That's not planning, that's magical thinking. It's also how towns end up with stranded infrastructure and non-buildable lots. I want the record to reflect that Montpelier residents aren't rejecting housing or progress. We're demanding competence and sequencing. Finish the traffic study, map the buildable areas based on facts, not wishful thinking. Then and only then talk about developers. The next city manager will have a choice. Continue this pattern of narrative-driven decision-making that erodes public trust, or insist on evidence-based planning and transparent procurement. We can still build a resilient village that fits the terrain, the transportation limits, and the climate realities, but not if we keep putting consultants and sales pitches ahead of data and due diligence. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody online who'd like to be recognized under general business and appearances? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move to the main item on the agenda. This is the public forum on the city manager recruiting. We have our consultant Ian Coyle from Academic Partners here, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to him in just a moment. I want to mention three points that will govern how tonight's meeting runs. First, we have the meeting set for 2 hours for this forum, and so we need to be conscious of the time and plan to wrap up by 8:30. Second, because of the time constraints, we're asking people to limit their comments to 3 minutes. If we get through everybody who's seeking to be heard and we have additional time, well, we can try to loop back for additional comments. And finally, the purpose of the meeting is to hear from people about what they think are important skills, characteristics, and qualifications for a new city manager. And so we would ask you to keep your comments on point and on those topics as we proceed. And with that, good to see you, Ian. I missed seeing you last week at the league at the town fair, although I saw your partner, but I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jack. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, good. So not too much more to add, but I thought it would be helpful to just set the table a little bit. I see we have two people's hands already raised, which is great. So I'll get to you in just a second. Where we are today is actually the last day for application, so to speak. The first review of resume day is today, the 15th of October. The search officially was live about 30 days prior to this. We have received 33 expressions of interest from prospective city manager candidates, which is a good number to see at this point in time. Obviously, we'll have to see who has applied today. The purpose of this forum is for inputs around desired competencies, what the public wants to see in a city manager, prioritization of the city manager once they're on board, things of that nature. We did put out a public survey as well. We had 193 participants in that survey. So we got lots of really good feedback and inputs from the public on things like opportunities, challenges facing the city and the city manager. Again, desired characteristics, traits, competencies of what they would like to see in the city's next city manager. So we're going to use all of these inputs to inform the process further as we look to evaluate candidates here in the next couple of weeks. One other point, we did have a scheduled public forum for this Saturday. There's conversations around possibly rescheduling that. So we do have this forum for participation. We had the public survey, which was out for many weeks, and we got lots of really good feedback. We also have a town hall Q&A forum for the 3 finalists once we get to that point in time in the process at that stage. So that'll be really a town hall style facilitated by myself as far as a forum. Anybody can participate from the public. Any questions, fair game, and I'll kind of handle that Q&A side once we get there. So a lot of good, meaningful, intentional, purposeful public input, participation from this council as far as this process goes. So just wanted to start with that. And if I do this correctly, it'll go fine. If I don't, Evelyn's here to back me up. So with that, if it's okay with the council, we will proceed with the public input. I have Anthony is first up with a hand raised for input.
Oh boy. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, this is Anthony Arapino. I'm out for a walk on one of Montpelier's best features, the bike path, and I assumed that I would be in a little bit better light. So I apologize that you can't see me. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the computer or the camera because it's a little silly. Anyways, thank you for this forum. I am so excited about the opportunity to bring new leadership to the city. As the council knows, I was very enthusiastic about making the point that it was time for a change. And the city faces a lot of challenges, and I'm not naive about the idea that just putting a new person in the city manager's role is going to magically solve all those challenges. But I do think it's critical that we have somebody come in with fresh eyes who has courage. They need to have the courage to look at how things have been done over the last 30 years and to appropriately say what's going well, what's working, and to continue with what's going well and what's working, but to also acknowledge that there are some things that could have been handled better, and not to be afraid of being honest with the community and with the council about what could be done better, what aspects of the city government could be better managed by different human resources or by improving the skills of the human resources that we already have in place. So I think the manager aspect of the title is really important. We need somebody with demonstrated experience in managing a large staff and a staff with diverse experience and diverse responsibilities. I also think looking at the council's strategic priorities is important, and it would be very critical if we had someone come in who has some experience overseeing and managing infrastructure projects. It is a key priority of the city council, one of your 3 identified priorities that we focus on infrastructure. It is critical in light of the climate threats we face, in light of the resilience challenges we face, and in light of the fact that we do have infrastructure that has in need of some generational upgrades, and we need somebody who has proven experience in that area. So those are things that I think are important. I'm really excited for the council to provide these opportunities for public input. It sounds like we've got some strong interest in the position, which I'm not surprised about, because this is a great community. This is a great opportunity to take this community a big step in the positive direction for its future. So appreciate the opportunity to weigh in, and thanks for taking my input.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony. Next up, I have Peter. Before I go to Peter, I'm just going to reference the fact that we did have a couple of people just join, so wanted to reinforce the fact that this is an open forum. Just raise your hand. I will call on you as the facilitator, and you'll have an opportunity for public comment here. I'm going to call on Peter next.
Peter Kelman. I live on Mountain View Street.
I've got to run very quickly, so I'm just going to say that I'd like to say something that complements what Anthony just said. I agree with just about everything he said. And therefore, what I want to just talk about is the city council and its response and the way the interview is carried out. A member of the city council, whose name I will not divulge, urged me some months ago to tone down my criticisms of staff because we wouldn't want to scare off people who might be applying to be the city manager. I think exactly the opposite is the case, and I think that the city council has to be very straightforward and and you do too, about the challenges. And the challenges include an atmosphere in which there has been considerable criticism of staff. A lot of it was focused on the former city manager, which is why he's not here, and we're looking for a new one. But it also focuses on some of his staff and the relationship, the kind of clannish relationship that developed where the city manager protected his staff and his staff protected him. We've got to have somebody who's going to understand that his or her job is to make sure that the staff is regularly and systematically evaluated, whether whether the result is a negative or, let's say, a critical evaluation, and not to be constantly protecting people who are messing up. Steve Whitaker just spoke about it without mentioning any names, but we all know why this deadline, had this constant rush to do it because we need to do this first, do it because we need to do this, because we need, and every time you guys have voted to do what we were told by a staff member needed to be done, as soon as it passed, the fence posts got moved. That is the kind of thing that an incoming city manager needs to know. There are going to be people like Steve Whitaker, there are going to be people like me, like Anthony, who are going to be very critical of staff. And this person cannot just be up there saying, oh, my staff is perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Or thank you, Peter. I'm looking here. I don't see any other hands up, but just wanted to again mention the fact if you're just hopping on, we did have a couple people hop on, hop off. So if you do have any comments that you wish to relay, just raise your hand and you will be called upon and we'll go from there. I see Alex G.
Hi, everybody. This is Alex Geller up on Dover Road. So I've been working with Kelly and Evelyn for the last few months in City Hall, trying to help introduce some modern tools and processes, and it's been a great experience. And it's really allowed me to kind of see what, behind the curtain, what things are like for real working people, the staff in City Hall. And it's great. There's great people there. I sense like I don't know, a really good atmosphere and a lot of hope. And I think in a new city manager, it's really important that they're doing two main things, right? They're outward focused and they're a great representative of the city and the staff, right? And they're working with partners and they're trying to encourage development and attract great things for the city. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to do that. But I think they need to be a leader, right? And they need to be inward focused, and we can't take our eye off of that. This is just kind of my angle on this is that like I've been working and volunteering my time to help City Hall, create some new exciting stuff. And I'm happy to do that. But where I see these things, these kind of modernization efforts die is when there are people that, because they don't understand technology, they resist it and they try to, ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. And in an atmosphere and a climate where, you know, there's not more resources, there's less. There's not fewer services that are asked of City Hall, there's more, right? That those two trends are going to continue. We need this person to really look at how City Hall does the work, because it's only going to get harder if we don't figure out new, better ways to handle work in, you know, the 21st century. So there's still a lot of opportunity, a lot of improvement that can happen. And I would say that this person, they need to be someone that really leans into modernizing and the latest tools and technology, and they're fluent in these things. So whether that's artificial intelligence or digitizing processes or any of those things, it's critical. And, you know, if 30 years is any indication, I think we like to keep our city managers around. So let's make sure that we pick the right one. Thanks.
Thank you, Alex. Next I have up is Dee Dee Brush.
Yes, thank you. I live on Liberty Street, have been here for over 40 years. And I would like to just say that many of the comments that have already been made, I concur with and would like to underline. I also would like to say that I am a volunteer who does quite a lot of work around the city, and I don't get the sense that the city staff or the manager's office recognizes the work that volunteers do or appreciates it. And I think that probably there's more cooperation that could happen with some of the staff. For instance, we as volunteers take care of the plantings in front of City Hall, which right now do not look their best. And there's no help at all from the custodian of City Hall, which seems to me to be pretty ridiculous. We also do an awful lot with the flowers and plantings around the town. There's no maintenance help provided by the city. And you cannot, I assert that you cannot depend on 75 and older people year in and year out to take care of the public spaces that the city has built and not maintained. So that is a big piece for me. I really, really resent the fact that the city comes up with some of these ideas. The transit center is a perfect example. The bike path is a good example. They're not taken care of. They look awful. And I think that the city manager or whoever is overseeing that kind of effort is not paying attention. I also agree with the notion that both Tony and Peter mentioned that to manage the staff is a huge piece of the job. But I also would like to think that there's a visionary, somebody who's willing to listen to thoughts and ideas and concepts about this small little city of 8,000 people. We had a design competition a few years ago, which asked a huge number of volunteers to participate, all of whom did so very willingly and very enthusiastically. We came up with a winner of the competition. Nothing happened. It was just dumped. I don't know why. I don't know what the reasons were. I find that insulting. And if you keep asking volunteers to do this kind of work and then disregard their input, they won't do it very regularly. So I think management, oversight, and vision are important.
That's your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Anyone else? Don't be shy.
Steve, go on up.
Yeah, I guess you can't see the people in the room. But I can't see you either. It's been several years asking that the center light fixture be delamped so that we can see who's talking on the screen and, you know, what their names are, but that's how maintenance gets done around here. Some of the qualities that a city manager is gonna need. Stick-to-itiveness. I can imagine, an unwitting but capable person, realizing the depth of the mess we're in, and leaving after a year or two. Could happen more than once. Hopefully not. Others have already covered honesty as a prerequisite, courage as a prerequisite. We need somebody with a good BS meter. Somebody who can cut through the crap we were fed about why our district heat system isn't running into black, or why our paving that just got done accumulates 2 or 3 inches of water in the crosswalks. And yet everybody, council, staff, everybody ignores it. We have a limited warranty time on that paving, but we ignore it. So we need somebody with public works and infrastructure experience, knows how to do real oversight. It doesn't just get bamboozled by staff. We need somebody with police oversight experience. We've got several bad apples in our department and have had for years, and our mayor helps cover it up, you know? So we don't have a citizen oversight board, and politically it's not possible to create one right now. So we need a city manager who's got the guts to stand up to a crooked police department. Not the entire department, I'll qualify that. There are some good people there. Deficit management. We are probably $100 to $200 million in unfunded maintenance, deferred maintenance expenses. It could be more. I'm not an expert on that, but to even get a handle on that, we're basically scratching the surface and deluding ourselves and the citizenry by pretending that everything's okay. We need somebody right now with development experience who can help guide and shepherd and make sure that whatever we build at Country Club Road is for the community and not for the special interests. The developers, the brokers, the planner. This is our property. This isn't theirs to play with or to give away for $1. You hear that, Jack? Who broke the tie? Out of the box thinking, good technology expertise. We need somebody who will not tolerate the timing of records releases to defeat public oversight.
Thank you, Steve.
I'll be back.
Thank you, Steve. Just gonna call again to questions, see if anybody who is on the Zoom right now wishes to speak. Just raise your hand and you will be called on. Not seeing any additional hands up, Mayor, but while we have a lull, I thought I would maybe just go over just briefly, if it's okay. We did have, the 193 survey responses done on the digital, format survey that we put out, and it was on the public facing website section for the city manager search.
I'd rather finish my testimony, if I may.
Well, you'll have a chance.
Yeah, sure thing. Just give me 1 second, Steve. So just wanted to, for the record here for the forum, we also had quite a few comments on infrastructure, many of which have been, relayed today. Resilience, preventative maintenance, housing was mentioned, the Country Club Road development was mentioned. Compassion for the unhoused individuals in the community and solutions around that situation. Sort of inward facing to the city government itself, a lot of comments about taxation and the control of taxes, control of spending, budget discipline, growing the tax base, if appropriate, strategic use of external funding, economic development, business attraction, development in general, redevelopment. Some concerns about public safety were mentioned, an emphasis on that for the next city manager. Desired leadership qualities, integrity, accountability, some of which has been mentioned here today, transparency, a lot on communication, a lot on best practices of engaging the community and opportunities to engage the community proactively from the next city manager. Strategic planning, moving beyond gridlock, moving beyond red tape, getting to action. Certainly fiscal management, which is a hallmark of a good city manager, municipal budgeting experience, prioritization, driving efficiencies, things like that. And collaboration, consensus, communication, engagement, all of those things around the external relations and internal, frankly, relations with staff. Challenges were mentioned. I think I talked on those, taxes, what limitations we might have from a fiscal capacity, balancing community interests with available resources and trying to advance projects across the finish line, and opportunities, and even so, some of which were mentioned here today. How to engage more and proactively and effectively with a very civically active resident base, some of that redevelopment, partnerships, how to tap into the community pride. So just wanted to, we had a lull here, just wanted to kind of reinforce some of the themes that we saw from the survey that was put out a few weeks back. And with that, I know that Dee Dee has her hand up, and Steve also wished for one more comment. So I will turn to Dee Dee, and then I will have Steve.
And you're muted.
Thank you. Just one other thing that I have been impressed with recently, but I'd love to see even more of it, and that is that the city council members actually have a real dialogue and back and forth with the city manager, whereas in years past, I have always felt that whatever the city manager said or presented was kind of adopted as gospel. I would like to see even more of that kind of back and forth between the city council and the manager, who I realize is the most informed on many fronts, but it is the city council who represents us. And so I would encourage that kind of, not quite sure what the word is, not aggressive, but more dynamic and interactive exchange between the two bodies of our government. And I hope that that's something this new city manager will allow for and or encourage. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
I saw Alex. I thought Alex had his hand up briefly. It might have been two hands to clap and send kudos to Dee Dee's comments. I might have missed it, so I just wanted to double check to see if you had a comment or if that was applause.
No, that was applause.
Okay, thank you. Let's see here. On the Zoom, I don't see any other hands up. So if anybody is in person who wishes to make another comment.
That would be Steve.
Yeah, it ties in with the earlier comment about Steve Whitaker again. Courage. We have deadwood in our government, despite the mayor's assertions that we don't. We've got people just waiting to coast out their retirement, and identifying that, getting a real candid conversation with the people who really want to work for the city and those who just want to coast, and some heads must roll, and that's going to take courage. That's going to take diligent inquiry and ability to build a rapport with the people who are willing to give their feedback on what works and what doesn't work. I heard about compassion, but compassion for the unhoused is not any substitute for restrooms, showers, secure lockers, and safe places to lay their head at night. So This has been going on for years. I've been talking about it for years, and this council has done absolutely nothing about it for year after year after year. And it's a disgrace. And for any city manager to inherit that disgrace and be ready to hit the ground running, will take the council turning over a new leaf or turn over the council. I'm more than willing to see that happen as well. I shouldn't be the eyes and ears that has to report that on a holiday weekend, Monday was Indigenous Peoples Day, here it is Wednesday, and we still don't have the overflowing garbage cans emptied on Main Street in Montpelier, just right down from City Hall. That's just an example of how pretty much everybody does their job, goes home, can't see it from my house. We're all doing the best we can. But I know that that's not true when records requests that are immediately relevant to this country club subcommittee are withheld and told, oh, that'll take 10 days. No reason at all. That's not in compliance with law, which requires unusual circumstances. These are no unusual circumstances. These records are urgently needed to inform the country club process, and yet they're being stalled by political operatives inside the staff. And that's just unconscionable. It shouldn't be tolerated, and yet the city council turns a blind eye to it. So we need a city manager who can hold the council accountable to integrity, because it's fallen far short these days. Yeah, think outside the box, embrace technology, embrace fairness and accountability. I don't know where you find that quality of person. Oh, we also need to lower salaries here. You know, we need somebody with the courage to negotiate these salaries down. We cannot keep paying 77 people over $100,000 a year. So.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone on the Zoom wishing to make a comment? If you're just hopping on, I saw we did have a couple of new names here. So if you're just hopping on, just raise your hand and you'll be called on, and you're welcome to make a comment on city manager process and what you'd like to see in the next city manager. Oh, I'm not seeing any other hands up right now, Mayor.
Oh, like Katie Trout's just raised her hand.
Thank you. For some reason, it won't let me do the hand raise icon. So just hello. Thank you for having this session. Just one thing that comes to mind and keeps coming up from the work that I do with Montpelier Alive. I would like to see, and I think that the people I speak for, the business community, would really like to see a city manager who is truly listening to stakeholders. In this case, the people who live, work, and do business in our downtown, and who will think creatively by looking at other city models and really seek solutions by looking at what other cities have found to have worked. There are so many models that we could look to for solutions for where we're at as a city. And I think that could be really valuable.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
Anyone else on Zoom?
Actually,
Go ahead, Katie.
To close out that comment, another thing that came to mind, and in that regard, having a city manager who holds a sense of being humble enough to look at other models and understand that we can learn from them and think outside of the box and find solutions that may not be, a trend or something that we've been doing for the past 30 years.
Thanks, Katie. Folks, anyone on Zoom? I was speculating that we might get a good turnout from people who are logging on mostly to listen rather than to speak, but we're certainly interested in hearing the comments of anyone who joined us tonight. Just give another minute or so for people to decide they want to be heard.
Jack, you're aware it was warned as virtual only, which is not legal under open meeting law.
Thank you, Steve.
I can tell you take it seriously.
Okay. Oh, Ellen.
Thank you. Will there be an opportunity for people to tell their ideas, to send their input to us? People who attended this session, maybe they don't come up with ideas now, but if they wanna email us later, would it be possible? Or I don't know. Have you talked about this, Ian?
I would say yes. And Ian, do you want people to email you directly or?
Yeah,
I think that-
whatever's easier. I know we did have an opportunity on the search page to add additional outlets for folks to just email different comments. So certainly I will work with Evelyn to provide for that. Not a problem at all.
And anyone who wants to send an email to the entire council, there's the link for that is right on the city's webpage. So anyone can do that and click that one link and then your email goes to everyone on the council. Okay, well, thanks, Ian. I think we are set. I'm not seeing any other input from people. Oh, Mark Wynn jumping in under the line.
Sorry, I'm also in a spot that's not very bright. But just to jump in to take this opportunity, first of all, thank you for engaging everybody. And I don't think I'm obvious, but the next city manager, in my opinion, needs to be someone who has a real hopeful outlook and is a real collaborator and understands that not only are we dealing with municipal resources and all the regular stuff and businesses and residents, but we are a state capital, and they understand that the collaboration with the state is really important. It would be ideal if it was someone who had some experience in another place that had faced disaster and recovery, as that's a very relevant and very important part of our success moving forward, as well as all the obvious challenges. And as Katie mentioned, looking to other towns that have really turned themselves around through reworking of infrastructure, building of housing, and that type of thing, and being able to and willing to collaborate, not just with our city council, our businesses, and our residences, but also with the experience that we can gain from cooperating, collaborating, and learning from a lot of those other folks. I also feel personally that this person should not be someone who is looking to stay here for 30 years, but that this should be someone who has demonstrated some real expertise, some real energy, real hope, real collaborative spirit in another place, and is ready to move to a small state capital, really make a mark in helping launch us towards where we need to be, moving towards the next 10, 20, 50 years of our future. Get us started on that path in the next 3, 5, 8, maybe 10 years, and move on to bigger and better. Like that's going to be the best fit for us. Thank you for the time.
Thanks, Mark. All right, folks online, pretty much the last call. I'm not seeing anyone else, and I'm not going to make people wait around if other people are not going to make comments. Jose,
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, to back up what was just said, that having somebody who has sort of turnaround experience, not necessarily looking for a permanent position for a long time, but somebody who specializes in coming into places and carrying out turnarounds. I don't know how you find someone like that, but that would be really helpful.
all right, thanks. Okay, I'm going up and down the list of participants. I'm not seeing anybody else. So, okay, we're still working on setting up another forum, and I'm hopeful that we can do that. We have other means of contacting us as we've been discussing. But I think that's good for now. Ian, do you have any closing words?
No, just to sort of reinforce the timeline we have. Today is the last day for resumes, so we'll take a look if anybody else apply. We were at 33 prior to this, so we'll see what that looks like. Tanya and I are actually conferring tomorrow about some schedule thoughts and some next step thoughts and things like that. But we're on schedule as to where we want it to be. I'm hopeful that your next city manager is in this pool of applicants here, and appreciate the time, and certainly appreciate all the inputs. Took a lot of notes. I know we're recording this, but took a lot of notes, and do appreciate both those that took the time to participate in the web-based survey and those that took time out of their schedule to even just participate here today, and of course those that actually also voiced their comments. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Ian, and we'll obviously be continuing to be in touch.
Yep.
We'll move on. Council members, does anyone want to make a city council report? I was assuming we would not be doing that, but the floor is open for anyone who wants to. And no mayor's report, no city clerk's report, I assume?
No report.
City manager? No report? Okay, at this point, we will be adjourned at 7:17 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for participating.